Hey guys, we are back with some more Vegas Golden Knights Eastside Hockey Manager, and it may be for the last time as we are in the Year 7 playoffs, and not sure if we're going to continue this series after this year as we are pretty far into the GM mode now. It's been almost a year since this series has started, so let me know in the comments, but I think this is going to end up being the last episode, as I do want to start a new AHM series. Or what we could do is do a Franchise Hockey Manager 5 series that I've been testing that game out. I kind of like it. It's better than Franchise Hockey Manager 3 for sure, which was the last Franchise Hockey Manager I had. So if you guys want to see a Franchise Hockey Manager 5 series instead of an EHM series, let me know about that. Because they're effectively the same game, so it's one or the other for me. But anyway, we already started the playoffs as I was rambling, and Lapalainen scores from Treloar and Krug for the first playoff goal of these playoffs for your Vegas Golden Knights, and then McDavid from Shea and Shore, but then Krug in overtime from Veleno on the power play for a 2-1 victory in game number 1. And going into game number 2 on home ice, let's hope we can keep winning up without Reimer and go all the way this year, because I would rather not lose in the last year. So, solid offensive game there. McDavid from Draisaitl and Bruin, and then Shore from Zaitsev and Yamamoto, but Veleno from Panarin and Smith on the power play. And then Treloar from Lapalainen and Timo Pukkanen. Then McBain from Yamamoto. But then in the third period, that was wild. Treloar from Larson and Lapalainen. Then Foligno from Spar and Zaitsev. But then it's all Vegas Golden Knights from right there. Svetlov from Larson and Brandstrom. Krug from Veleno on the power play. And then two empty netters. Panarin from Krug and Veleno. And then Reichel Pukkanen from Veleno and Larson. We are 2-0 in the series, going back to Edmonton, so that is always a good thing. So let's see, Reimer resumes light practice. He should be back in a few days. So yeah, right around game number 4, I would say, or right after game number 4, maybe he'll be back. So, hey, if we can win this game here, then we should be in good shape to get Reimer back nice and healthy for round number 2. Which would be ideal. So let's actually view this game now. Now that I'm actually paying attention. First period, goals by Veleno and Thompson. Goal by Veleno, assisted by Smith and Lapalainen. And then Thompson from York and Brandstrom. And then Manu Niemi for the Oilers from Pudujärvi and Zaitsev. Second period, goal by Safin from Foligno and Zaitsev. Third period, we'll go to the Edmonton Oilers. And a goal by Shore. A goal by Panarin from Smith, but Safin with the game winner from Spire and Draisaitl. I believe the first win of this series for the Edmonton Oilers, yeah, and we are still up 2-1, but we're going into game number 4 now, and if we can go up 3-1 in the series, I still like our chances. And obviously, we still have Ruben in net, but Reimer's very close to being back, so I'm not worried too much at the moment. Game number 4. In Edmonton, come on, boys. First period, there you go. Solid showing. Reichel Pukkanen from York and fours, and then fours from Reichel and Larson. Second period, nothing doing. I will definitely take it. Third period, okay, there you go. Lapalainen from Treloar and Miller. Then Draisaitl from McDavid and Shore, and then Bruin from Yamamoto and Shea. So Edmonton comes close there, but Captain Smith with the goal a few minutes later from Panarin and Larson, and then Reichel Pukkanen with the empty netter from Fours and Adam Larson. So we are up 3-1 now, and Reimer should be back momentarily, as yes, he is, right after game number 4, as I predicted. So let's get him back in there, and we will send down Cam Rowe back to Chicago. There you go. Now, here's the thing, is that Ruben has won us 3 out of 4 games so far. But I do want to get Reimer warmed up for the next round, since he's going to be our starter, I would guess, throughout the rest of the playoffs. So we're going to get him a game here see what he can do. We're up 3-1, so we don't have too much to worry about, but I would prefer that we close out this series right now. So we're going to see if Reimer can continue his performances in the regular season in the playoffs here. First period, goal by Smith from Theodore and Veleno on the power play. Second period, goal by Smith once again from Veleno and Brandstrom, and then Mansfield from Shore and Draisaitl. Third period, Soderstrom from Zaitsev and McDavid, and we are going to overtime. Let's see what happens. It's going to be McDavid from Draisaitl and Shore for the 3-2 victory for the Edmonton Oilers. We're up 3-2 still, so not too bad. We still have 2 chances to win it, but come on, let's not fool around here. I don't want to go to Game 7. And anticlimactic. I simmed a little too fast there, and Thompson from York and Svetlov on the power play, but it's basically all Oilers from there. McLean from Puljujarvi, and then Shore from Shea and Yamamoto on the power play. Yamamoto from Bruin, and then Mansfield from Yamamoto and Bruin once again. That line was on fire. And Timo Pulkkinen from Lapalainen, but it didn't matter too much at that point. We're now tied at 3. So do I go back? The question is, do we go back to Nicholas Rubin? I think so. He's been the better goaltender so far in the playoffs. Yeah, Reimer has not been good. 650 average rating with a 865 save percentage. Rubin. Just combine the 2 names. Has an 888 save percentage with a 7 average rating, so have to get him in there for the last game. Oh man, I was not expecting a Game 7 here. Okay, so Miller hasn't been too great, but he is a veteran. I want to leave him in there. I feel like his veteran experience will shine through in game number 7. Now, as for forwards, Treloar's injured, so we're going to get Kucera in. Lazaro really hasn't done well here in these playoffs, 633 so far. And then everyone else isn't that bad. Veleno's been done great so far. 8 points in 6 games. I mean, geez. So we'll put Kucera on the left wing there. There's really not much that I want to do. This is our best lineup, straightforward. There's not much we can do to change anything up. Although we were up 3-1, so I guess a couple of line changes wouldn't hurt. But then again, the series is tied, so we have a 50-50 chance of winning or losing. I'll put Larson with York. So that's Krug and Theodore. Rubin's in net. And I'll put Lapalainen on the 3rd line. Actually, Thompson should be on the 4th line as well. Yeah, that looks more right. Then Svetlov, Lazaro, Lapalainen. Yeah, okay, those are the lines that won us games, for sure. So, we'll just have to go with these lines and hope that we can make it past the Edmonton Oilers, because this would be really anticlimactic if we somehow fell to the Edmonton Oilers in round number 1 of the year 7 playoffs. That would not be good. All right, come on, game. Bond suffers injury. Jeez. All right, here we go. Game number 7. Oh my, here we go. Come on, Vegas. Come on, Vegas. First period. Oh my God. Niemi twice. Once for Foligno and Walcott. And then once for McDavid on the power play. 2-0 Oilers after 1. Second period. Not looking good. Larson from fours. But then McDavid from Draisaitl and Zaitsev on the power play. Not looking good at all. Come on, boys. Third period. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Svetlov from Lazaro and Lapalainen, but then Bruin from Yamamoto, and that's it. Jeez. Unreal. How did we go from being 1 game away from the Stanley Cup championship to being knocked out by the Edmonton Oilers? That's an all-time low. That is an all-time low right there. 85 points in the regular season. Wow. Besides the Vegas Golden Knights, the Predators, and the Sharks, basically every team was under 90 points after that. that's not too good. And even the three teams outside the playoffs here, the Flames, Blackhawks, and Ducks, they were within 2 points of a playoff spot as well. So, I mean, geez. Not how I envisioned this episode ending. Especially since we are only 11 minutes on the recording. Oh my goodness. Let's check out the stats. Yeah, Joe Veleno, of course, nothing but phenomenal for this team. And at only $5.5 million per year, and then $6 million for the last 3 years. I mean, he is an absolute stud on a steal of a contract. And then Lapalainen, 7 points, Smith with 6, Fours with 4, Larson with 4, Panarin with 4, Palkinen with 4, Trelawney with 4, Svetlov with 3, Teemu Palkinen with 2, Thompson with 2, Lazaro with 1, Kucera with nothing in 1 game. So I don't think depth scoring was an issue. It was clearly defense, well, mainly goaltending for us, I would imagine. In terms of points, Krug with 4, Brandstrom with 3, Larson and York also with 3, Miller and Theodore each with 1. Harrison Weir didn't play. You see the average ratings. Yeah, York was solid once again defensively. Miller, not so much. Theodore, not so much. Everyone else was fine. Forwards. Come on, forwards. Let's go. Thank you. Kucera didn't have a good game in there in that game 7.6 average rating. Lazaro, he got better slightly as the series went on, but 6.43 average rating. Teemu Palkinen just wasn't too good all year. So if we're going past this year, then maybe you look to shop him around a little bit. I don't know who would take him with that $2 million for his skill level as his attributes show. But disappointing year for Teemu Palkinen. Overall, he was a great player, but this year, unfortunately, just dropped off there. And then Svetlov, not great, at least in terms of the average rating. Same thing with Force. He had 4 points, so I guess that's pretty good. Thompson with 2 points, 7 average rating, though. Everyone up here did a good job. I would say had at least 2 points, at least in terms of Aiden Thompson. And everyone above Thompson had at least 4. So it's not lack of offensive production. It's just goaltending, I think, killed us. Yeah. 872 save percentage for Rubin, 865 for Reimer in the 2 games that he played. And when you take a look around at the NHL with the rest of the goaltenders, I mean, you see all these save percentages like this. We're nowhere. I don't even think we're in the top 50. No, we are not in the top 50 for the regular season. So definitely, I would say the next EHM or FHM series that we're going to do, what I want to do is I want to try to build a defensive team, like a pure defensively minded team, sort of like the Devils of the 90s, you know? Because I feel like that's something I've struggled with. Because I clearly have no problem with building an offensive team, right? I mean, I pretty much all of my GM modes in the past, 2 or 3 years have been primarily offensively based teams. I want to try to build a defensively minded team. That's going to be a challenge, but I'm up for it. So let me know what you guys think about the next EHM series and what we should do. If there's any specific team you want me to use and what should be the strategies. But again, I really want to try to build a defensively minded team here, because again, that's something I haven't done in a long time, and I feel like it'd be a good challenge and ultimately might win us the Stanley Cup, as the Vegas Golden Knights came very close that 1 year, but ultimately didn't. So I guess that's it. I mean, we'll go through the regular season stats. Well, you know what? We'll go through all the players who did us very well. Joe Veleno, first and foremost, I believe one of our first draft picks of the series. Yeah, 2018, round 1, pick 3. And of course, he spent all that time in juniors, but I believe it paid off in spades, as he spent 5 years in the NHL, 45 points his first year, 76 points. What a jump. 90, 85, 80. So we dropped off a little bit from year number 3 to year number 5, which in our case is year number 7, and then year number 5. But for him, it's year number 3, and then year number 5 was this year for him. He was solid average rating all around, besides the first year in the simulation, which was the 2017-18 season. Had a 634 average rating that year, but every other year he was solid, and he was solid every single year in the NHL. So he was, without a doubt, one of our best players. Panarin, I mean, we got him in a free agent signing that year, and his contract is mainly a signing bonus contract, but he's still a phenomenal player. 79 points, 76, 76, 70, 79, 44. He had a huge injury that year. Or no. He wasn't injured. Yeah, that was the year we signed him. Right, and he sat out half the year. Right, okay. Yeah, he didn't have a huge injury. What am I talking about? I don't remember any Panarin injury. So, yeah, 44 points that year in 36 games, and then consistent 76 to 79 point score, effectively an 80-point score per season type of guy. You really couldn't have asked for much more out of him. And then Reichel Pulkkinen, the Selke Trophy winner from year number, what was it? I believe it was year number 5? It was year number 5, because that was his second year in the NHL where he had 40 points, and he won the Selke that year. So, super proud of him. I mean, initially, the funny thing is, I was initially thinking of taking Ricard Brun with that pick that we had taken Reichel with, but he clearly proved that he is a defensive beast, and not only that, but he has also recently proven himself offensively as well. 62 points this past regular season, then 57 the year before, 40 the year that he won the Selke, and then in the playoffs, he was pretty solid this playoffs, and then he got 13 points in the big run to the Stanley Cup Finals. He was really a solid player all around. Cam York, one of our original draft picks as well, I believe from 2019. Yeah, 2019, 8th overall. He's right before Reichel Pulkkinen. He gave us a run in 2019-2020 season for 18 games, but we decided that he wasn't ready. Sent him down to the AHL for the rest of the year. Succeeded there, 40 points in 54 games. 702 average rating there, and then from there, he was just a beast. 24 points in his official rookie year in 77 games, 705 average rating. Then he basically became a beast after that. 40 points in 82 games the year after, 40 points again, and then 51 points this past year, taking over as the number 1 offensive defenseman on this team, surpassing Torrey Krug. Waltteri Lappalainen, he was solid. He was very much of a surprise. I mean, we drafted him round number 3 of 2019, and he didn't even come into the NHL till, what was that, year number 5 as well? And he had a solid rookie season, 37 points. Now, someone else as well, Stefan Larsson. Talk about solid rookie seasons, 66 points in 78 games. What a guy. And then Carl Forrest as well. 57 goals in 64 games played in the AHL and 97 points. So that definitely earned him the call-up, and he did very well in his time here, especially in the last couple of years. 51 points last year and 45 points this year in the regular season. Of course, he had an injury, which only kept him to 64 games, and if he had played a full schedule, then he definitely would have had more points than he had last year. And in the playoffs, he had a few points this year as well. So, good little player for us there as well. He was actually, when was he drafted? Was he drafted in the second round? Yeah, 47 overall in 2019. That 2019 draft did us very well with the likes of Reichel Pulkkinen, Cam York, Stefan Larsson, I believe it was as well. Stefan Larsson, Carl Forrest. Who else? I believe someone else came out of that 2019 draft. Was it Lappalainen? Yeah, it was Lappalainen as well. So that 2019 draft was absolutely insane for Vegas Golden Knights. And, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Teemu Pulkkinen, the fourth line, just stud, basically up until this year. We brought him in year number 2 when we were tanking because we thought, may as well give the AHL players a chance to do something, crack the roster. I was not expecting Polkinen to crack the roster. I was not. But then he just, all of a sudden, he, just shows up with 12 points in 11 games, no big deal. 736 average rating. So I was like, okay, we'll keep him on the roster, see how he does. And then, of course, he follows up the next season with a 58-point season on the fourth line. This guy was outstanding no matter which way you slice it. With the exception of this season. And even this season, he had a 20-goal season. So he wasn't even half bad offensively. It was just defensively and didn't get too many assists either. But still, very, very phenomenal player. Phenomenal fourth-line player. Probably one of the best fourth-liners I've ever had. In any GM mode, not just in Eastside Hockey Manager. This includes in EA Sports as well. Probably one of the best fourth-liners I've ever had. And then, Reimer, he did a solid for the past couple of years after, what's his name? Marc-Andre Fleury retired. He had 61 games that year, 46 games that year. I believe he had an injury. 64 games that year. And unfortunately, again, with this team, offensively built, so he was never able to have a 900 save percentage with us. Because he's clearly had good seasons in the past in the simulation. 910, 919, 916. Just not with this team. And that is obviously due to our structure being in a high offensively minded team. And that is part of the reason why I want to do a defensively minded team for the next series. And that's really about it, I believe. Theodore was a solid rock for us. Basically, the entire GM mode. We've had him since day one here in Vegas, and nothing but a solid performer. Constant 30 to 40 point guy as well. So I really couldn't complain with Shea Theodore too much. And then Colin Miller, he had his ups and downs, but he was one of the few to also stay the entire length of the GM mode. Can't complain from him either. Is there anyone else who stayed since day one? I think that's it. I think it was only, no. Riley Smith. Yeah, Riley Smith was also one. But I believe that is it, those three. Yeah, Smith, Miller, and Theodore, I believe, are all the day oneers here. Let's just look through the lineup here. Polkinen, no. Valeno, no. We drafted him. We got him out of free agency. We drafted Trelaw. Well, Brandstrom technically has been with the organization, but he hasn't been on the team since day one. I'm talking about the players who have been on the team since day one, and he doesn't count in that list there. Krug, I believe we traded for. Stefan Larsson, we drafted. Adam Larsson, we traded for. Aiden Thompson, we drafted. Carl Forrest, we drafted. Svatlov, we drafted. Theodore, day oneer. Miller, day oneer. Timo Polkinen was technically not a day oneer just because he started the series in the AHL. Nicholas Rubin, free agency. Reimer, free agency. Lazaro, draft. Kucera, draft. Harris, trade. Wu was technically, again, part of the Vegas Golden Knights organization when we started, but he was not on your Vegas Golden Knights until year number 6. So can't really count that. He only played 13 games for us. He was basically a backup defenseman the entire time. But yeah, that'll just about do it for your Vegas Golden Knights GM mode. And actually, what I'll do before we end things off here is I will simulate up to the awards, just so that we have an idea of who won what. Obviously, we'll see if Reiko Polkinen won another Selke. We'll see if Riley Smith won, let's say, the Hart, and we'll just get up to there. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the entire draft. I might draft like round 1 and round 2, but that's really about it. I don't want to stretch this out too long because this is more than likely the final episode. So I will pause the recording momentarily and I will get back to you guys when we are in the off-season. And the Capitals have won the Stanley Cup in year number 7. So there you go. There are the Stanley Cup champions for presumably the last season of this GM mode. We'll obviously continue the Eastside Hockey Manager or Franchise Hockey Manager 5, whatever you guys want. I'll put a poll up for that at some point on the community tab of the channel. But other than that, yeah, that is about it for this GM mode. And we are just going to make our way up to the draft. I'm going to go through it really, really quick. Vezina Trophy shortlist. Bob, Murray, and Holtby. I'm going to say Bob. He has the 7 shutouts. That's impressive. Alright, so here we go. NHL entry draft for year number 7. And I will do the first round, but that is it. I'm going to sim past every other pick that we have. So Marcus Patterson. You got a B for shot and scoring, A- for hockey sense. Not too shabby. A scoring winger, it looks like. Yeah, goal scoring for third line potential. Jordy Bell. Yeah, 5-star future rating. His left side on the report card isn't phenomenal. Let's see who's ranked 21 here. Zachary McPherson, 2-star. Let's see who else is 5-star here. Appears we have a lot of 3-stars, a lot of 2-stars as well. So maybe we're ending on the right year here. There's Patterson, Perot, 1-star. Wow, 1-star is going in the second round. That's brutal. Unless our scouts just haven't scouted everyone all the way, which is possible, but you know, still it seems a lack of quality talent down here in the really past round number 1. So I guess we will, you know what, for the memes, because I said Paterson, we'll take Marcus Patterson. Just, you know, just because. So we actually have another first round pick right up. You know what? We'll take Jordy Bell because I was looking at him anyway. He would have, if this year didn't count, then I probably would have taken him before Patterson. But just for the memes, I took Patterson anyway. So we'll just sim past the rest of the draft here. And I honestly, I have no idea how to do that because I almost never do that. Let's see. Is it autocomplete? Yeah, it's auto. Okay, there you go. So that would make sense. But there you go. There is the year 7 draft. Nice and quick as compared to usual. So we will just sim up to the awards, and that should be about all she wrote for this series. All right, here we go. Awards time, and the Art Ross goes to Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Maurice Richard, Sidney Crosby. We do not have a runner-up either. The runner-up was Forsberg and Duchesne. Lester B. Pearson Award also goes to Crosby. Jeez. Norris, does that go to Crosby as well? No, that goes to Aaron Ekblad. And then in the runner-up was Carlson and Subban. Vezina, Bob, as we expected, as I voted for him. And Jennings goes to Matt Murray. Saving Grace goes to Matt Murray as well. Selke, Reiko, Polkinen. All right, you know what? We ended off the series on a good note. Reiko Polkinen wins the Selke for the second time in this GM mode. Good job, Reiko. Good job. If this were a full-length GM mode, he would be a legend, I would say. Just because 2 Selkes already. And he's only, what? Yeah, 23. I mean, jeez. That's insane. Caller goes to Ramanko of the Lightning. Lady Bing goes to Nathan McKinnon. And Riley Smith actually came in 3rd for that. So actually, who are the runner-ups for the Selke? Rhino, Riley, and Kopitar. King Clancy goes to Jamie Benn. Riley Smith was in 3rd for that as well. So he was close on a lot of things. He wasn't the best. Lester Patrick goes to Duncan Keith. Jack Adams goes to Nelson Emerson of the Capitals. Yeah, that makes sense. They won the cup. Plus minus goes to Cam York. Was the NHL leader in plus minus. That makes sense. I mean, his plus minus was very high up there. Yeah, plus 59. That definitely makes sense. Hart Memorial goes to Aaron Ekblad, and runner-up was Crosby. while Jack Eichel came in third. Conn Smythe will go to Nicholas Backstrom. Wow, still killing it there in year number 7 is Backstrom at 36 years of age. Masterton, Reiko, Hulkinen, baby. And not to mention as well, Aiden Thompson was a runner-up for the Bill Masterton Trophy. So Reiko collects not only his second Selke, but his first Bill Masterton Trophy as well. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Second All-Star team, Cam York has been named to that. And there you go. There is the Vegas Golden Knights GM mode. So if there's anything else you guys want to see that I may have missed in this episode, let me know. But other than that, this should be the last episode of the Vegas Golden Knights GM mode. So thank you guys for tuning into this series. And I will see you guys in the next one, whether that be the New York Islanders GM mode or the Wolfsburg Wolves or something else. I have no idea. I'll see you guys in the next one.